सजना ओ सजना मैंने तुझसे प्यार किया मैंने तुझसे प्यार किया जीवन भर ये प्यार हमारा जीवन भर ये प्यार हमारा बन के रहेगा अपना सहारा टूट न पाए अब ये कसम टूट न पाए अब ये कसम प्यार न बदले अपना सजना ओ सजना मैंने तुझसे प्यार किया मैंने तुझसे प्यार किया तेरा प्यार है दुनिया में तेरा प्यार है दुनिया में तू ना मिला तो मर जाऊंगी साथ रहे हम जन्म जन्म साथ रहे हम जन्म जन्म साथ ना छूटे अपना सजना ओ सजना मैंने तुझसे प्यार किया 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 मैंने तुझसे प्यार किया
A very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show on Island Zone Radio. You know, it's a rainy day out there and it's kind of gloomy weather for a couple of days now, but guess what? I need to carry on the show. As we all know, most of us know, that the month of September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And I could not have get a better guest. You know, all this time, all the years that I've been a suicide advocate, I've always tried to get someone to talk about suicide, but today it's a different story. I have my guest here, Miss Bibi. Her father committed suicide and left 8 children, and so we will try to figure out. I will let her tell her own story about some of the things that affected her and her family. And I want to tell you that she is from Guyana, and she has been in the country for some time now. Bibi is the author also of 3 books. Can you believe that? And she is a suicide advocate. As I said, that her dad committed suicide many years ago. Bibi, I want to say a very good afternoon to you and welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show on Island Zone Radio. I had wanted to bring you on a long time for us to have a discussion, to have a conversation of what is it like to lose a father to suicide. Welcome to my show.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Even a rainy day, I'm so excited. The month of September, and the day had came for me to speak about my dad. I'm telling you, I had in love with him from the day I was born. I never look at him if what he have, what he didn't have, what he didn't give me. And that's a love that is still in my heart for the rest of my life.
That's right. And before we start to this interview with her, I want to share some facts with you all. More than 700,000 people die due to suicide every year. For every suicide, there are many more people who attempted suicide. And guess what? Every one person that you see died, 25 people tried to commit suicide and they managed to survive. The prior suicide attempt is an important risk factor for suicide in the general population. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death among 15 and 29 years old. 77% of global suicide occur in low and middle class income people around the world. So we can see that what kind of people are dying. But I don't want to get away from the fact that anyone could kill themselves, whether you're rich or poor. It's all about how you feel inside. And ingestion of pesticide, as we know in Guyana, hanging and firearm are among the most common method of suicide globally. Suicide, I want to tell you, and I'm so passionate to tell you this, that suicide is preventable. We can prevent suicide from happening, and if we know the right thing, what we can do. You know, after committing suicide, people often say, how could they do that? We often say that. I know maybe you've said that after having 8 children. Why would you kill yourself? Why didn't they think about how this will affect their family and their friends? You know, considering suicide. Often think they are doing a kindness to others. And I want people to understand this, that people who try to kill themselves or who kill themselves is that they're doing kindness for others, individuals who are suffering sometimes something, they are a burden to their family or hurting others by continue to live. This is the main reason the true suicidal person doesn't reach out. So we know sometimes people, your dad probably felt, you know what, I killed myself because I am better off dead than alive. The main reason, right, that the truly suicide person doesn't reach out, they don't want to be a burden to their family. Men make up half of the world's population, but accounts for over 80% of the world's suicide. A big reason for this is that men often choose to suffer in silence, and we always know that men do not like to go to the doctor, men do not want to talk about how they feel. For example, nearly 10% of men suffer from depression, but less than half ever even they try to seek treatment. And for men, there can be perceive of the stigma that there is associated with asking for help or seeking emotional support. We are supposed to be strong. We men supposed to be strong and supposed to be resilient. It is not a sign of weakness, I always tell people, to acknowledge or compromise emotional stability for men or women. Suicide is not the solution, as we all know, and any person's struggle should never be to face this alone. Anyone who wants to kill themselves, I want to let them know that there is people out there that's willing to listen to you. We alone cannot prevent suicide. We aim to be kind, patient, and forgiving. Try to be aware of loved ones' possible struggles and be available to talk about it. Check in one of the strong resilience type of friends and family. We want to talk to our family. We want to know what they're going through. And so, baby, my first question to you is, how old were you when your dad took
Well,
his
I
own
was
life?
14-year-old.
You were 14 years
Yes.
old. Did you really understand what was going through with your dad? Did you know if he had any problem?
I saw that how poverty life. I saw he really want a home. He want a piece of land to build a little home.
Right.
And he was renting all the time. And I feel that he was moving every month someplace because he can't pay his rent properly. And he was crying out to really build this little home. But if you don't have money, who's going to build it for you? And I see like every family member or people maybe promise him and they're not fulfilling the promised. And so that's what I see. I see that the struggle of money, the struggle of not having a proper place to live, that bring him to that.
And I would want to think that after having 8 children, that he would think, what's going to happen to my children? How are they going to survive with all of this? And did you know if your dad had any kind of pre-existing condition, for example, things like depression or any mental illness?
I feel that when you want something in poverty life, or you're poor, you need it, it will bring stress to you. Money brings stress to people in life. And when you can't provide for your family, the family was started to break up. Why you think we break up? Why you think domestic uh, parents separate? At the same time, my mom was threatening him a lot that I'm going to leave you, I'm tired of you. You're tired of you not providing. So I think that was a stress on him that he couldn't keep his promise. He couldn't keep his life. And no one know what he's going through because a lot of time, what I think, when you're depressed and you're down, you can't see the light and you can't even hear what people telling you. Because if people tell you, go to work, go and get a job, do this, you say, okay, but the next day you ain't doing it. So I feel he could be in depression. Depression is silence. We don't even see it. And that's a silence. And especially men, I don't think he wanted to speak too much about it. And in those days, I think if we come from the west coast of the Marara, with the forest, we all live from farming. We don't have a lot, so how much could you beg the family or the members to give you?
And that has to be a big stress on him because, you know, I always tell husband and wife, stop nagging at each other. We will not get anywhere, and it's a problem. So, do you know that if, like, any auntie, uncle, any brother or sister had any kind of suicide, mental health issue?
I don't think his parents, what happened, he didn't raise with his mother and father. His father went back to India with my grandfather, what I heard. So I never see my grandparents. And his mom, at a young age, passed away. So he was raised by his grandmother. I feel that was a burden right there for him. Having your parents, then come into marriage, have your children, they're too much into our life. And I see the sadness, but I was too young to really help him. But I know in my mind that I always tell him that I'm going to be rich and I'm going to be always there for him. And so he and I was really dream. We dream some dreams that we will be doing this and doing that.
Wow. So, at the time that he killed himself, was he working?
At the same moment, my mom decided to leave him.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that's what I.
Go ahead.
My mom decided to say we have to separate. So she decided to go to West Coast, East Coast back with her family, and he was left in the West Coast. So he was coming to visit us, and my grandfather on my mother's side would say, I'm super tired with you. We're not going to allow you to see these children.
Oh, wow.
And so I think that was the last I saw him. He came, and I always hide him. He would come, and I would always be secret to hide him, to open the door and let him come in. But I realized my grandparents on the other side was tired about the situation, so they didn't want him in his life. What I want to try to say today, even we are talking about domestic violence and a man have to go and a woman have to go. My mom left, but look what happened. He suicide. She had the children, but who was happy in this situation? What I feel, we all lose when we break up a family. And so we got to think as women and men, before we break up the family and we're breaking up for material, let us go counseling. Let us look for help. Something going to help us to save our children. Because the children who destroy, we were 8. I have 3 of my siblings passed away in different, they couldn't keep up, maybe they're sick and all these things. But I'm one of them that made promised that I will be leader and I am not going to disgrace you. And I think God had used me to bring purpose for this journey, on this project that we are going to do. So people would see me and hear my voice, and they can able to take life different. And they would say, I have hope. Because I have hope, you can have hope too. It's not a journey will be easy, but everything have a beginning and everything have a ending.
My question is that, how old was the youngest child And how young was the youngest child when he passed away?
I was the oldest.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm the eldest of my father, that's why. And he had three girls first. So he didn't have a son. So I was the son. He had a son on the fourth child. So I had learned a lot of things like a boy, going to the farm, going into the planting, carry me all over the place to do the guy's work. And I think that's what I learned a lot, and I think that's why I had love into the being the farming. And that's why I love the soil.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Love the Sun. What work did your dad did?
My dad was a mechanic, I think, fixing cars. I don't know if he was professional, but I know he was fixing cars. And as a Guyanese, we always have a jack of all. So he was a jack of all. Also, at one time, he was working at a rice marketing board, like labor. They fetch those rices and pack them in those truck. So he was trying to do things.
Did you think that Daddy was playing a really important part? He was trying his best to provide for the family?
He was trying to do the best, but I think depression hit him. He turned into alcohol. At the last moment, he started to drink and, get drunk. And when you drink, I learned that when people drink and get drunk, they're drunking their problems. They're drunking their mind, and so they will not be thinking about it. And so seeing him become now an alcoholic every day, and, Guyana is typically, I saw in my time, on Friday you get paid, everybody gone to the rum shop, sitting down with their friends, having fun and they drink. When they finish drink, they go home, they ain't got no money.
Oh, wow, yeah. It's a true story that you're saying. I've always said that on the show, and I hope that today, and I want to tell you that today's show is in the memory of your papa, your daddy.
Yes.
May God bless his soul. And I'm glad that my question was going to be about alcohol too, if that did you think, but you don't have to answer that we want to let you know that when you have mental issue or you have depression, alcohol, a lot of people go to alcohol and thinking that alcohol will help them. But I want to tell people that alcohol is just a temporary fix. And after you get sober, then guess what? You will start to have the same problem, the same feelings again. Let me ask you, when he died, some people drink poison one time. By the way, what he did?
My father burned himself up.
Oh my, burn.
And
That's cruel.
That's cruel. Because, when you're in alcohol, you're in the next, you're just something different. You doesn't know yourself. So I think in his mind, it carried him. Maybe he was looking for poison, like usual. He didn't find poison. He threw kerosene out, and he lighted himself. He didn't die at the same time. He died after 12 days. He was in the hospital, in Georgetown Hospital. My aunt took me to see him because he wanted to see me. So I went to see him, and I can see he wrapped up all this white stuff. I couldn't even see his face. All I could see his toes, I recognized him. I was young, but I remember I hold his hands, and he told me, I want you to be a leader. And I said, but in my mind, you're not a leader, but you're telling me to be a leader. And then he said, don't disgrace me. But in my mind, I said, you disgrace me, but I'll leave it. As I walk out the hospital, in 5 minutes, I heard someone calling me. He passed away. He wanted to see me. I took those 2 words, treasure. I took those 2 words like $2 million. I use those words, and every time I want to make mistakes, or every time I think I'm going astray, or every time I want to give up, I look up and said, I am not going to give up. And I did not give up. I said, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to push, and I'm going to push. And someone out there, I know the Tao, it is not an easy road when finance you wouldn't have, your parents is not there. Your life become such a different because now I'm 16, my mother say, I have opportunity for you. She's sending me to a next country now. In those days, a lot of parents are poor, and so they decide to send their children to opportunity in different country where they don't even know these people. The lady from Venezuela, she came to Guyana. She wanted girls to go to work. I was one of them who went with a woman, and I worked with her at the domestic work. You know, you miss your family, you excited to go. But when you went to a Spanish country, you can't speak the language. Your whole world gone again. But I cry out to God, and I said, God, you're going to help me. You had to cry out and cry out and cry out and say, I'm going to make it through one day. So people out there, smile with someone because you don't even know what I've been through and still have the smiley face. Let us give a hug and let us give a smile that we're able to embrace people to keep going, to keep going.
Let me ask you, how the death of your dad affected you as a young girl growing up, 14 years old? If you can relive that, and I'm sorry that we have to go through this, but I know that you want to share that we could help other people who's going through this. How has that affected you? At 14 years old, Daddy died.
I want to thank God because I turned the death into a new road. I didn't think about him dying or think to miss him. I want to survive. I want my other siblings to survive. I want my mother to survive. The past would trigger your mind and keep you down. Even a death of a family could keep you down and hold you down. I wanted to survive, so I decided to think what we can do. And what we can do was all of us started with my mom, and all of us decided to plant. And we plant, and we focus on making it. So the focus of thinking about him was not thinking too much, but his birthday, the holiday, we think. But when you need in life, you don't get time to think about other people. You got to think of fighting to survive.
We haven't spoke to mom yet, but about mom, but you said mom is alive, right?
My mom is alive, and
How old is she now?
my mom is 82-year-old.
Oh wow! So, did you ever have? How did your mom deal with this back in those days?
My mom was depressed in her time. I realized my mother was going through a depression, and depression is a silence, and she never speak. I realized now that my mother was very quiet and stay quiet all the time. And I realized when people depressed, they stay quiet, you know, and she really didn't talk too much. She wasn't even tell us what to do. She was all there like when we are the leaders. We are I was the mother and father. And so my mom never really say much. She always felt in her heart and her soul that I was everything for her. And she feel like she can't lose me. And she hold on me. And she hold on me until a couple of years ago, she left me. She went to Venezuela to spend the rest of her time with her son and other grandchildren, because I am the first who went to Venezuela, and then I took all my siblings one by one.
Oh wow!
And we created a family there. Created 3 generations: my mom, I, my children, and grandchildren. So we create 4 generations in Venezuela.
Had you ever had like an open conversation and said, "Mommy, what happened? Why did you think that Daddy killed himself?"
She told me because, you know, she leave him and she didn't want nothing to do with him anymore. See, he felt hurt. I think men is silence. And when a woman leave them, not that they hurt because the woman leave them. They have children and they become such a, they really get, at the moment maybe he didn't know what was going on. But when he couldn't see his children, when he couldn't see his wife, he felt lonely and he felt like, I got nothing else to live for. And so that's why I would advise a marriage couple, a family, if you're going to break up, I'm not telling the woman to live with a sad story or a sad life or poor life. But what I'm saying, we're in a different time. We can sit down and talk to each other and make agreement to go our way. But let us be friends and family together for our children. Let us have a good reputation in front of our sons and daughters. When we are growing those children up and we are like dog and cat, you know what we're doing there? We're leading a man to go to prison. We're leading a man to go in depression, and we're leading a man not to do nothing. So I will tell you, this is my experience, and this is a message I will send out for the women and men of breaking up family.
You know, one of the things that I've observed, you know, I've been following you for a while, and I've asked you several times to come on the show, maybe come on the show to talk about your books. But we have never talked about you. I didn't know that your dad had committed suicide. But you're always in a good mood, you're always jovial. You know, how do you, and you know, you smile, and I can see that you're smiling now. With all that you've been through your life, and I know that you went through some things in Venezuela, because like anybody else, you know, a young girl going to Venezuela, going to any parts of the world, it's not an easy thing. You know, how you cope every day, you know.
Prayer, prayer. I would sit and I would look up in the sky and I would pray. I would pray. I would pray and I pray every situation. And when I finish praying, I'm a different person. I've changed things, and I decided to pray. I didn't know which religion I was. I know I was born as a Muslim, but I didn't have a home with practicing the Muslim. But I know there was a God, and I know that He in the sky. So I sit in the corner under a tree in the farm, and I would pray. And I can hear there's a joy suddenly will come into my soul. I kept that for many years and many years and many years. And that's why I smile. And two, you have to, your mind is the power. And your mind is what you put in the mind is what's going to come out. So I train myself that if I can overcome her, and I have an award from our president of the US, award of overcomer. And if you overcome her, and this life that is left, this last lap of my life is left, I decide not to make no one get into my mind. I will walk, smile, dance, and rejoice because you are the power of controlling your vehicle. And your vehicle is you.
I say amen to that. And in terms of your mental health, have you ever suffered from depression?
I think yes, I did. But when I feel that I want to be in a closet or I want to be alone, I just get busy in the community. I just go on event. I just get into the community, everything. You smile when someone is making it true. You smile in everything. And so when you get busy with your life, doing good for others, you will fight depression. Because depression, to fight it, is love. So you conquer love. Then no medicine can really change us. We get to change ourselves by doing good things and by being in the atmosphere of love. Or be around the people that appreciate you. Be around the people that always put you high up than put you down. Depression is blind. People don't see what they're doing but we can see what they do. I have many of my friends who is walking through depression right now, and I'm behind him to tell him, you know, our God is wonderful. Look at me, read my book. And they will say, you're right, baby, you're right. So I am saving souls. I am making changes in this world, and I'm making a difference in the people life. If it's one person a month or one person a year, I am making a difference.
That's a beautiful story there. And as we were talking about depression, you're very blessed and you know you have a higher power. I also, you know, during this conversation, during our interview, I would like to put in some things about mental health, about mental illness, and I want to tell people that if you're having depression and you can't control it by God or by yourself, don't hesitate to seek medical help or psychiatric help. If you're feeling suicidal, please, you need to get help. Praying, Bibi was very fortunate that she's a strong-minded woman. Growing up, she is a God-fearing woman, and so she is able to control this depression. And so I want to encourage you, don't think it's a bad thing to go seek medical help if you have depression. Um, what advice do you have for young people who are going through or who went through these kind of things in their life?
Losing the parents or
Yes, yes.
well, losing your parents is, we all lose parents in different form. But when we lose our parents by suicide, it's a different feelings. Because when someone killed himself, it's not the same when someone died from the sickness. It could affect you. It could hold you back. A lot of things. But I advise you that just get up and be better, because if your mother or your father, he or she will look down and be proud of you. You see, they didn't be proud of you. Your parents didn't be proud of you, but you can be proud of them. Remember, we can't lose two sides. We can't lose our parents and lose ourselves too. So get up, be strong, go to help. If you can't help by a friend or family, the medical, the system. Get into the system. The system is there for us. The counselor. In our area, we have counselors. We have systems that have everything for us. But a lot of us, knowledge. You see, the power of knowledge can help us. So look into more and read a lot. And then you can listen to a lot of stuff can able to help you. So there's so much now different from my time. And even still, I look back and to me it was just a dream.
We haven't spoke about your other siblings. How they took this? Do you guys ever sit down and say, let us have a conversation about Daddy who passed away?
We did. Some of them took it hard. You know, one of my sister, I have sister living in Guyana still, and you know, she always will be talking and saying things that, you know, I could see the depression is still in her. I tried to talk to her, and sometimes she listens, sometimes she don't. I see it do affect my other siblings, but I try to be the material girl, like have a dream, what you're gonna do. Some of them is in Venezuela, some of them is in Panama. We all scatter all over different country, and so we connect, forcing to become normal people. But deep down, it take out a lot of some of us. I personally, I would say I'm normal, but my sisters and brothers maybe not like me. And so they go through a silent depression. So I will say, it does leave a scar. It do leave a stamp on you.
You know, I'm so proud of you and how far you've came. You know, and I'm going to try utilize today, since that this month is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and I know that Guyana has a high rate of suicide, and it's really going down. I'm going to get to the comments just now in just a few minutes. I'm going to talk about some things, and I want you to chime in. Pay attention and chime in what I'm going to talk about after I finish. You know, things to remember when talking to someone who is suicidal. We want to be compassionate when expressing love and care for the concerned person. Listen patiently to what the person has to say. Do not judge. Don't be judgmental. Instead, be calm and stay positive. Reassure that person that life can be better and help is available. That is so true. Take everything he or she is saying seriously, as this can help win trust and get better. So we talk a little bit about positivity. What's your take in all of that?
What you said?
In terms of to be positive about all of this when you're talking to someone who is actually suicidal?
Well, some people were not going to able to talk to them positive because I walk this journey. I see so much negative uh, of talking, and people, even me, would would still give me negative. But what I believe in is to walk away.
Oh, wow.
What I believe in is to stay silent. You see, we can't please the world, and the world doesn't know where I'm coming from.
Right.
The world was not where I was. The world was not what I've been through, because I couldn't be an ex-victim. I couldn't be a suicide person. Because you know what? I had a thought when I went to Venezuela and I felt I was alone there and I didn't want to stay in the country. I had a thought to do it. But I changed my mind. You know, I heard it said that it's in the genes when someone close to you suicide, you maybe somebody else gonna attend. But what I thank God for, no one else had ever did it in our family, and we as sisters and brothers in my family, we're trying hard that our children had a better life, a different life, and we doing the best we can. I have grandchildren, we're doing the best we can, but at the same time, we must take care of ourselves. And ourselves need a lot of nutrition in our mind. We gotta listen into the nutrition, because if you mentally not strong, if you take nutrition and listen to the activists that talk about the food for the mind, for the brains, and health, it would help us, because when we're strong, what we do, we can fight it.
Right, absolutely. And what, we people, our friends, our family, what not to do. Avoid statements like your suicide will hurt your loved ones, or you will have so much to do in your life. Do not appear shocked or lecture to that person about his or her situation. Don't ask for an explanation for his and her suicide thoughts. One should not blame himself or herself for someone else who choose to end their life. And oftentimes, and you can tell me too, you know, when someone is suicidal, and here are some steps that we can take to help that person, ask that question. And, I'm a psych nurse too, so it helps me a little bit. Are you thinking about hurting yourself? You want to talk to that person. You want to be empathetic. You want to do it in love and kindness. You want to, if that person says yes, they want to kill themselves, you want to keep them safe and keep them at a safe place. Be there, listen carefully, and acknowledge their feelings. A lot of times, you tell people how you're feeling, and then guess what? People come and take over the whole situation. You know what they feel and what they can do and what they cannot tell you. They want you to do what they're saying, but that's not the way to go. And also, you want to have them connected. You want to help connect them to the care that they would get, that they could able to get. For example, if they want to kill themselves, they're having that ideation, you stay with that person. Don't let go of them. Because the moment you turn your back, that's the moment they go and commit that act of killing themselves. You also could call 911. Now in the United States, you could dial 988 for them. And I always say that, when someone get all the care and all the love that you give to them, you just don't drop them and leave them down there. You want to make sure you call them from time and time above later on and see how they are doing. I'm sure that I see you with one, two good friends around. Do you think that friends help?
When I say everyone have a season to be with you, and when they come, they do the season, they go, and then the next will come. So don't be mad when someone leave you. Don't be mad when someone have to go. So you have to educate yourself, especially for friends, because we can get depressed about that too. We get depressed that people leave us our life, and we gotta culture ourselves. I think God, it was wonderful to me to culture myself to be this age, to be 63-year-old of my life. I will say the Father is wonderful, and He really have me on the path, because looking back, the things I done and the things I'm doing, I don't even know how I do it, but I did it. But I say, when you have a heart of kindness and you just go out every day with passion and love, then nothing can stop you, because our Creator wants us to go out there with love and passion, and He would help us. You see, it's the love that I had in my heart and my soul that really healed me and not get me into depression. Because don't think I didn't went through storms. I went through all type of storms. The storms in life, losing a family, losing a sister, losing a brother. Yes, I do. I had two of my sister passed away. One brother passed away at 21 in accident in Venezuela. And we go through different things in life. But it's only a season, and you got to walk it through. And when you can't walk it through, that's why there's a church. That's why it's a minister. That's why it's a hospital. And if you don't have a friend, then you make a friend. The world right now, I have many people from different countries will call me. I talk to people. They listen to me, and they look at my Facebook because I put something out every day, positive. People watch you, people listen, people take your words, and they change without you even know. You change people without you even know. Millions of people you change without you know. So come out, continue to do the good work. Good never finish. And that's my attitude every day. I always have something. My friend said, "Baby, Ma, you always got this energy to run here, run there." I said, "Girl, you know what? This make me alive. I'm not dead. I am alive."
Amen, amen. I like that. You know, and here are some of the risks that we talk about. We talk in her story. We want together to help anyone who's thinking of who's depressed, who want to take their own life. And here are some of the risk factors, and she was talking about too. Some people have a genetic predisposition that puts them at an increased risk of suicide. These genetic factors combined with stressors. And when we talk about stressors, like your dad, he was stressed because mommy was harassing him a little bit. Mommy was putting pressure onto him. She wants to leave. She left him, and she was nagging at him, and so he started to stress about things. What am I going to do? And he think that what, killing myself would be the best thing. Especially things like financial difficulty. And we talk about that. You spoke about that traumatic experience, things like rape, divorce. You see, you talk about your mom left him, and mental illness can cause significant distress and impact the natural way the body and mind typically handle stressful situation. And characteristics for those who are most at risk, though anyone can be at risk, anybody could kill themselves really, but there are some distinguishing factors. Men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide than women, and that's because, guess what, men go through the most lethal way in killing themselves, like they will shoot themselves. Some women would probably drink poison, and they would be able to pump the poison out or whatever it is. And those with depression, substance use issues. For example, your dad was drinking alcohol, and psychosis is more at risk. People who are suffering from a terminal illness or so on, like cancer or having a higher risk of suicide. And it is so true that people who are very sick, who have a chronic illness, like we talk about things like you depress, you get a new diagnosis, like cancer, you can think about, you know what, you could say, listen, what am I doing in this world? Why am I wasting my time? Let me take my own life and go. Because, you know, the truth of the matter is, sometimes, even as a guy, I think, Lord Jesus, I always tell myself, when I can't make it no more in this life, when I become a vegetable, I don't want to be here again. I just want to go to the next phase. As you know, the great Jim Reeve says, you know very well, this world is not my
My
home.
home.
And I always think about that. And that's what gives me the mind to say, you know what, I'm not scared of death anymore. And there is a couple things, more that I want to talk about. But before that, let me see, where's my phone? I've kept busy talking, but let's give some greetings out to some of the people who that is watching the show. I want to read what they're saying. Ariana V is watching. Thank you very much. And she said, hello, Ariana V. Had to make sure I don't miss this show. Nanda C, a very good afternoon to you. Michael Nalini Naidu, good evening, darling. Ram Hirlal, watching all the way from Canada. Zelina Rahman, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for tuning in. David M. saying, good afternoon, everyone that's locked in. We got Stephanie Armish, a very good afternoon to you too. Elizabeth Lowe is watching from Guyana. Nayan Chunilal is watching from Guyana. Says Ram Narayan, can you please shout out a happy birthday greetings to DJ Groove in Florida? Thank you very much. So happy birthday greetings going out to DJ Groovy from Florida. Sabita Kumar is watching, and I know Sabita is going through a hard time too in Guyana. She's here in the United States, but we pray that God will bless you. The beautiful Sherry Williams is watching too. Hi, Sherry. Good afternoon, darling. Love you like bacon saltfish. Ajay Ramlogan, Ramlochan, good afternoon. Yes, I am back. Rosie Rampersaud, a very good afternoon. My beautiful Gwen Megan, good afternoon, and thank you for all that you donated to me. Terence Brummel, depression is a silent killer. And Brummel, you know what? I would love to get in touch with you. I was reading your posting, and I see that you made some interesting comments, so I would love to get in touch with you and tell me more of the things that you do. And you said both partners in a relationship need counseling. Absolutely. And as Terence is saying that, I want to tell Terence and the viewers, I know Terence probably know these things. If you are in depression, seek help. You don't have to get medication, but you can start your treatment by talk therapy. And if that doesn't work, your doctor could put you on medication. And if medication doesn't work, they can do a combined treatment, whereas they can give you medication and they can talk to you. So that's a great thing. And then you don't have to be on medication for life. And you know, back in the days when baby father and mother was going through their problem, long time story in Guyana was very different. Now you can go get counseling. The relationship is not working. You can get counseling, and this can help. So thank you very much, Terence. Refrain from drinking alcohol because my whole world cave in when I do. No, it doesn't. And alcohol for me isn't a temporary fix. It makes me weak at the moment. Wow. Bibi Ali, I see you watching. And Bibi Zafar Ali, you know, her husband passed away due to alcoholism just a couple of months ago. And she lost one of her friends because of suicide.
Wow.
So sorry to hear that. And I know that she will come on the show sometime to share her story. Annette Deo Prasad, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much. And Stanley Ramsaran, good afternoon to you. And bless up, I lost my hairdresser, Bibi said. And I want to say, I didn't talk to Nadira Budram a long time. Bibi, Nadira, thank you very much for all you do for my show, for your love and support. I still love you, my dear, and I know that you love this woman that's right next to me. And thank you for loving her and for supporting her and for supporting everyone. You are a beautiful woman. Henry Villa watching all the way from Irving, Texas. Good afternoon. Um, let's see. You truly inspired to be an author and consider writing books. And we will get into her books very soon. And Terence says, conquering true love. Yes, can I inspire with her story? I'm inspired by her story. So sad, Michael Nalini said, I really can't listen to sad stories when I feel, and I know you always do. And my good friend, Miss Rohini Suraj Bali, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your love, your support, and for the Jamon. Kamla Arjun is watching all the way from Suriname. And Ariana V says, I didn't remember to collect the book. Please, baby, you will get that book. About influencing changes, be the change you want to see. And I always say that, Terence, in this world, and I can tell you that Bibi is living the world. Anywhere I see her, she is a beacon of light and hope for the world, and that's why I'm attracted to her. You know, this world is something. And so I've always tell people that, you know, life is funny and life is unpredictable. We never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And like I've always tell people, I'm glad that I learned most of my lessons as a young boy. And I heard one time that the black crow fly over all our doors one time or the other. And also, the rain always fall over our housetops. So never put down people or judge people and drag people through the mud. Truth of the matter is, your day is coming. It's just a matter of time. And that's why sometimes, you know, baby, people think that, and I have this in my heart to say for a long time, and I see that sometimes people get upset with me because I talk to their friends, or I'm good friend with their enemies, I mean. And I want to tell people, your enemy is not my enemy. Your friends can be my friends.
Yes.
And this is a small world, and we all can live together. Sometimes it's all it takes. And I tell you, I'm trying to live a better life for my own self. It's all about forgiveness, and we have to stop sometimes to take things too positively. Think about the million things that I've done good for you than the one things that I have done bad to hurt you. And you said it right, you know. And I know that when I get into this preaching moment, I start.
Beautiful.
I have to stop, you know, sometimes. Because sometimes life is funny. You could throw us down. We don't know today or tomorrow what's going to happen to us. And like, you know, the Bible, the good word said sometimes, I used to be tough with people who is tough with me, who don't like me. But sometimes I think that when God is going to judge me, I want him to judge me fairly, and he must use a lot of discretion when he will be judging me. Good afternoon. You're watching from our, the Ken Rampersaud Show on Island Zone Radio, and you're watching this show every Sunday afternoon from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow evening from 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. From our hearts with Malika and Ken. I don't know what we will be talking about tomorrow. I'm glad that I'm not coughing too much today, that it's giving me the voice to continue speaking. God is good. We know that tonight is the cricket, so we are trying to go easy and go fast with this show. Also, Ariana said it leaves trauma behind. And I want to talk about, and I didn't ask Vivian, I wouldn't want her to talk about this, but she can listen. And, you know, when parents have to realize too, when we send our children, and now we have to be careful with our boy children, when we send them away from us, we send them, we don't know who we are sending them to. We open the book for things like rape, abuse, and so many things. So many of our regular children was abused, was raped, and we don't know as parents. Sometimes we see our children act up and behave in a certain way, and we don't know what's going on. And we don't have that relationship to find out the true manner of what's going on. So sometimes I tell people, that's why I like to use the term, let's be empathetic towards each other. And, you know, I was supposed to be a preacher, but I walk away from after 2 weeks because I thought in my mind I was too young. I haven't seen enough, if you know what I mean. Um, let's see. Um, you cannot lose your parents and yourself at the same time. Terence, that is such a profound thing to say. And it is true, like, and this is a good example. Like when we in the airport and we're traveling in the plane, the air hostess always say, put your mask on first before you put your child on next, first. So always, self-love is the best love. Michael and Nalini said, thanks, Ken, for having this amazing show to educate people and give them help. Indra, I always say Indra is my rich friend, but y'all don't take me personal. But I love her. She always, when I was sick with COVID, she said, she called me and she called Geet and she says, Ken, anytime you want anything, let me know. If you need any help, let me know. She still tells me that this day, and I hold her deeply to my heart. And I always, and I get emotional when I say these things, but despite how hard I fall, I know in my heart that I got people to help me. I tell my wife that anytime I
Amen.
die, I said if I die anytime, I'm not worried though, because I got so many people around me, and I'm telling you about strangers who is going to be there for my wife. And I got some friends. I said, boy, if I die anytime soon or whenever it is, knock on board that I live longer, that I tell my friends, y'all stand up behind my wife. And I know that I have a few friends who will make sure that my final right will be well taken care. Let's see, genetic predisposition. That's right, Terence. So thank you very much, Terence. Your enemy is not my. Absolutely, Terence. Thank you for staying on. But your friends may be my friends. By the way, a stranger is a friend we just haven't met as yet. So true. You are not broken, just free rich. Thank you very much. You're watching the Ken Rampersaud show on Island Zone Radio. Um, I'm not going to play music because I know there is there is cricket coming on at 7 o'clock. But what I want to talk about, I want to ask you, first I want to say Henry Iavila from Texas, I just get him. I want to say special thanks to your friend who came in the studio, Mr. Terence. I saw Terence a couple of nights ago, and so Terence, thank you very much for coming in the studio. You are a true friend because she didn't know where she was coming, and so thank you for coming with us. He's sitting down right next to us in the studio. Thank you very much, Terence, for being a friend, and she really do need a friend. Sometimes we don't know the value of friend. You could take a sip of your tea, Miss Bibi, because I will be talking to you just now. So take your deep breath. And my question to you, that you sound so articulate and you can talk. I know you're a good talker. What level, and I'm just asking this, and it doesn't matter to me, because as I said, you're very articulate, Bibi. Up to what level of education that you have?
Well, in Guyana, I really wasn't going to school
Right.
because your parents have you busy. My father passed away. I forgot about school. I was busy planting and selling, so wasn't in school. I think I had a junior high, but once you have God in you, God direct you, and He can make you anything you want to be. I fight to win. It wasn't hard because an education is very important. So I will tell parents, please, right now, not in Guyana, but in the world, we need to educate our children because they suffer when they don't have an education. For me, it was hard, but what was a blessing with me, when I went to Venezuela at the age of 16, I had to learn Spanish. So having a dictionary in Spanish and English, it teach me to learn the two language once again. So that was the embrace of helping me. You see, our God knows when we down and where He can bring us up. So learning Spanish was learning English. So it helped me to what I is today and what I am doing. What I learned was enough for me to survive this world. I was a skilled girl. I was a hairdresser for 45 years of my life. I had my own business, Guyana, Venezuela, and America, the Flatbush neighborhood, over 25 years, my own salon. I well in that neighborhood, well known. I had love in that neighborhood, and it bring me through. Also, I was a real estate for Florida, selling land for Florida. So when you don't have an education completely like a high school or a college or a doctor degree, we have skills. Our hand is just like our brains. And so we can use it. I'm still using my hand. I am running the street, I'm running the road, and I'm using it. Now I'm an artist. I am going to nursing home, and I'm teaching them how to do art. I never know what inside of you. You'll be surprised to see what inside of you and what you can bring out to survive in this world. Take a deep breath. Take a moment of silence. Look inside of you. But what will bring it out faster is being good to others. Don't think when I walk this journey, there's so much people will put me down. This is no good, this is not good. But when it's good for you, you don't stop. You keep going. People will laugh at you. You don't think they laugh at me? Yes, I'm a farmer. Power the soil. People say, what were you really talking about? Now, if you sit and take a minute to listen, then you get to know, how did that tree grow? Is not power in that soil? Then you get more deeper to see our soil can be heal us, mental health, spirituality help, because it's a silence. It can grow us.
Thank you, thank you. And I really wish that I only got her book like 2 days ago, and I worked yesterday. And the truth of the matter is I didn't get to read her book, but I want to tell you that she is the author of 3 books, and I'm going to try my very best to bring out the best of her. And it's called The Power of the Soil, and because it's green, it's not going to show, or you guys could see, The Power of the Soil by Bibi Nazira Ali, story of a farmer, little vendor girl from Demerara. And I want to read some things. I'm going to take advantage and read about this. By the way, I want to say a good afternoon to my beautiful aunt, Delari Sigobin. She is my aunt who gave me the power of the soil, like your story. She brought me in the United States 30 years ago, and she can see her nephew is doing great things that I made her very proud. And so she is my soil, and she's the power in the soil that give me a great life. And so I'm always proud to have her on my show. And I am reading your book. It says The Power of the Soil, dedicated to my parents, Abbas Ali, and Bibi Shakura Bach, and my children. I want to read her acknowledgement, and after that, I want her to talk a little bit about her book and why she get the name. And I give her some time to think. The Power of the Soil. I know she spoke about it earlier. My life has been blessed with a seed of greatness that have been planted within me by the following: mother who gave me birth, Auntie Irene, who love and support, Lucy, who exposed me to the world of hairdressing in Venezuela, Cathy, owner of the first hairdresser I work in Flatbush, New York, Monica Sanchez, Linda Johnson, and Leela Ramisar. You all have been a mentor along the journey towards my success, and as I build my legacy, and all my friends and family, thank you for all your love, support, and blessing. Seed of greatness. So, how did you come about with this simple name, The Power of the Soil?
Because when my father passed away, we went in the soil. We were farming, and we see the power of the soil, what it did. We see the soil, we plant tomato, and everything was growing crazy.
Oh, really?
We sell them in the market. All my siblings were so happy. We forget that our father passed away because we all in the soil. We see the growth of the soil. We see the plant growing. And so it was a mental health for us. So everybody was picking the fruit. They were happy. They forgot that our father gone. So when we pick them and I have them to carry to the market, they was happy because we was making money. A kid love happiness. When a kid get happiness and love, they excited. That was our park. That was our fun. And so I had them, and we get money. They can buy stuff for them. I was the parents for them. And so when we go in there, we live in that little farm most of the time. And so we were happy. We have conversations. I become like a teacher for all of them, of 8 of us. That's a school, that's a class by itself. And so I think the soil play a big role with us. We forgot that we were poor. We forgot that we would need anything. We forgot. The mind is a power. When we let the mind out of the negative, we can receive the positive into this mind. I felt that I survived this world because of let going of the past. Let going and let the future put into me. Our brains are small. And then when we don't give space, what would happen? Like a computer, check your phone. The phone full up with a picture, it stop. Our brains too can stop. So I think that's what the play, and that's why I name it The Power of the Soil.
That's very profound. And then your other book, and then I'm going to talk, let me try this little Spanish thing now. I don't know Spanish. El Poder de la Tierra.
Yes, perfect. La Poder de la Tierra. Habla español. Bienvenida a mi gente latino español.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And then she says her next book is Back to the Soil. Back to the Soil. And let me see. My other thing is that if people want, ladies and gentlemen, please buy her book. And I'll tell you why I want you to buy her book. Because her book, all the proceedings goes for helping other people. And tell us what you do.
Well, I have an organization named Culture of Blessing. It was created 7 years ago, and I love to give plant back. In Venezuela, in the first year, in 2017, when they had the disaster of food, I went back to Venezuela and I gave away 5,000 plants to people, and I showed them how to plant. My brother is a farmer in Venezuela who farmed to survive right now in that country. And so I feel that if you're poor and you go back to the soil and plant, all you need when you're hungry is food. And we can create the food from the land. So there no be poor people or no hunger if we go back to the soil. And if we don't have soil, we have bucket. We have something it will do and help us. So that's the purpose. The book is in Spanish because I went there and did a project in 2017 and give plant away. My belief is to teach a man to fish, and so he would have a fish for a lifetime.
Amen.
Then giving a fish, you eat out today, and then tomorrow you still wouldn't have a fish.
That's so profound. Camille Sook, a very good afternoon to you too. I hope I haven't missed anyone by saying hello, but if I do, forgive me. But I appreciate every one of you that's tuning and watching this show. And so while you're telling your story, I also want to say some warning signs of suicide. As we all know that the month of September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and we know that over 700,000 people die due to suicide every year, and for every one person that die, 25 other people attempted suicide. And here is some warning signs. These signs may mean it's different for different people. Risk is greater if a behavior is new or has increased, and it seems related to painful events or change. Talk about wanting to die or to kill oneself. Looking for a way to kill oneself, such as searching online and buying a gun. Talking about feelings of hopeless or having no reason to live. Talking about feelings of trapped or in unbearable pain. talking about being a burden to others, like your father probably did. Also, increase the use of alcohol and drugs. We say that.
Yes.
That he did he drank, he burned himself, he drank alcohol and burned himself. And ladies, we are talking to Bibi Ali, and if you just tune in, her father committed suicide and leave 8 children behind to fend for themselves, acting anxious or agitated, behaving recklessly, sleeping too much or too little, withdrawing or feeling isolated, showing rage or talking about seeking revenge, displaying extreme mood swings. And again, ladies and gentlemen, there is help. If you know that there is an emergency call, don't hesitate, call 911 and get help for that person. Like I said, never leave that person to be there by themselves, you know. Let's see, we are going to wrap up not too long from now. Also, people think that if you talk to, you know, sometimes when people talk about suicide, people don't want to hear, but you should encourage that person to talk about their feelings, their thoughts, in order to get to hear what that person is saying. And never think, don't take them seriously. Always take them seriously and try your very best to see what you can get out of them. Again, you can call 911, and then now it make it easier in the United States, where you can dial 988 and crisis helpline, and you can get them at 988 life, 988lifeline.org. And yes, if you're talking about suicide, it doesn't mean that that person is going to kill themselves. Like I said, if anybody, and you know this, if you hear somebody want to kill themselves, don't think, man, stop. Guyana got one thing, and I'm going to go in Guyana talk. Man, stop that nonsense. Where you talk about kill yourself? That the old story with Guyana. You mad, right? But take them seriously and try your very best to help them. Also, like I tell people that a lot of times we judge people often, and we don't know what we're talking about. But I want to tell people that, and Ariana V was supposed to be here, but her parents in town, so she could not be here. But next month is is Domestic Violence Month, so I hope that she can come and we can have a nice panel discussion to see how best we can talk about all these things that we could talk about. It's never, as you know, it never get old to talk about. Never get too old to talk about domestic violence and suicide prevention. What is there anything else that you want to close with? You want to talk about?
Well, I would say thank the audience to listen to me, and I would thank you all that my book is on Amazon, The Poverty Back to the Soil, and Back to the Soil is the project that I do in Uganda, Ghana, Venezuela, and Guyana. I send seeds and plant to them. So the book was right, chosen, and the money is going to help. But because now we're having a new project on that what happened to the kids and the children that left behind after suicide. So God is creating a new project for us. So everything is going to go, and they can look at my page and see what I'm doing. I travel all over the place. I just came back from Rome, and the Lord is in Spain, and different places. And now I retire. It takes. You see, when you put good in life, God will give you back your return. Just put it in. And like I said, a lot of people out there are not, they're not confident to talk to someone, because if you talk about you want to commit suicide or how you're feeling sad, people may report you, and then the authority can come. So a lot of people are silenced, but they just open up to talk to somebody. Nobody will lock you up. Nobody going to change you. It's going to be a treat you, because the mind can stray you away, like he did for my dad. And so my book on Amazon, The Back to the Soil, and you can read it. It will tell the story about the Ghana, Venezuela, and what the people like me, poverty, what they're doing, how I changed their life. And that's the story about Back to the Soil. And the Poverty Soil is the same as Spanish and English, is on Amazon. And so you purchase a book, and it will help someone. my organization called Culture of Blessing. I am just rising out to make a difference in this world. Thank you. God bless you all to hear me. And like I said, when someone is speaking with you and they down, just listen. Maybe we are busy in everything in our life, but take 1 minute to listen and answer less. Because when one person is sad and the depression, they like to talk. But when you listen and they finish, they speak out everything, because in the mind, when we speak it out, we go to a therapist. What do you think we does? They listen to us, we talk it out, and then we empty our mind, and then we clear. So sometimes we just need to empty that mind so we can be clear, clarity, and keep going for the next day and the next moment. And especially suicide is in the young people right now. Our young people are very much into suicide. There's silence in the room. They're not talking to you. You're going to talk to your children. Some of them not talking to you. Oh, I'm okay, I'm fine. That's not a good sign. They must be coming out and be joyful children. So look at it. Pay attention, mother and father. It was the old people thing behind. Now it's not the old people. Now it's the young people. And I want to say one last word. Our country, Guyana, is a small country. So if people suicide in the country, it shows like when we have a lot of people suicide. But in America right now, we are big. We don't see it all. A lot of people are suicide right in America. And that's what I want to share with you. Thank you, God blessing, and purchase your copy on Amazon. And just remember, enjoy this journey that God had given us.
Well, I now breathe. After listening to your story, it's so profound and so moving. And I don't know, not often I'm short of words. I am always full of words. But baby, I want to say thank you very much for coming on this show. When I started my radio program, I wanted to hear a story like yours, so that we could make a big difference in the world that we live in, and that we could all together, as you said, plant a seed. And when our journey is done, sometimes the truth of the matter is that we may not get to see the tree, the fruit that the tree really bear. You will gone, long gone, but you have made such a profound change in life, in people's life, in this world. And your story reminds me of that sometimes we have excuses, but your story teaches us, no matter where you came from, no matter how bad your life started, that you can make a big difference in this world. That you can charter your own destination, and that's what you have done. You have traveled the world, you're the author of 3 books, you're articulate, you're sweet, you're beautiful, you look good for 60, how much?
63, my birthday's coming up soon. The beauty from the outside, I used to live one time as a hairdresser, and now I'm in the beauty in the inside. And the beauty in the inside is to take care women in the 60s, women in the 70s, to take care of their health. And so that's my new project. We are doing Love Me By You. And Love Me By You is about the guts. We have 2 brains, our brains here and our brains in the guts. A lot of sickness are living in our guts. So that will be a next show. We will come back and speak about Love Me By You and about how sick live in our guts.
God, how much breath you let me take here now, baby? But anyway, Terence wrote, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. Take a minute to listen. When someone is down, do not push them further down. And so thank you very much, everyone. Please share this show that it could save somebody down the line. You never know, what tomorrow may bring. But like, BB says that, being kinder and listen to people what they have to say. Go ahead and enjoy the cricket. And by the way, BB, I want to say thank you very much for coming to our first candlelight vigil in
Smoky Park.
In Smoky Park. We got time. We got 4 minutes more to talk. You want to talk about it?
It was, when God wants something to do, he gives you the vision, and then the people would come. And he picked those people that night to be there, so they are the one would follow. Some would drop out, but some would drop in. Your project is already in the air and in the universe. You're doing it is a great legacy to showcase about suicide. We let suicide pass. Maybe I don't really hear it. It's my first time really talking about suicide. I went in Guyana last year, and I went and I speak about, had an opportunity to speak in the television station, and I speak a little about it. So I am so happy that in our community, Ozone Park, that we can able, because there's a lot of silence too, is here. We're living in Little Guyana and Big Guyana, and we are going through the same, no difference. Depression is all over the place. And so we are living a different season now. And the season that we are living, parents, children are getting everything, and they're still depressed. Ask me, what is this? Children have everything, and they are the one who is suicide. Before was children who didn't have nothing. And so this is a more focus now. We got a new chapter to focus on, our sons and daughters, the future generation.
Well, thank you very much. And you know, to be honest with you, that thing was planned like only a couple of days ago, and I'm like, I didn't want to do it, but then Jap said, man, Ken, that's a calling you have, go ahead, let's do it. And so Jap Nate, who is from India, we pulled that off. And you know what? I like it was a couple of us, but it was so so good for all of us. It was so there's a word I'm looking for, that we all were so close knit, and we share your story, and it made a difference. I felt like everybody else, that we are making a meaningful contribution towards this world that we live in. So don't forget, next month is going to be Domestic Violence Month, and I'm going to be something bigger than that, in a more big style fashion, if you know what I mean, because domestic violence is a big thing in Guyana. And so I know that you're going to be present, and I hope that next year that we get Terence to team up with us, to join us with a candle in his hand.
Yes, he was to come, but he was in Brooklyn. But like I said, also in domestic violence, I want to say last word, men are so abused so much, and we want to come to the root of the tree. Why domestic violence? Why women? It happening. It's happening because we need to educate our men. We need to educate our sons, so it would happen less. Come again, my father, my mom leave my mom, and look what happened. You don't think when these women leave the men and the government take them over, they can't see the children, they can't see nobody. What happened there in the system? Let's be real, let's go to the root of the problem, and let's start from the root to the top, and so we can make a difference in domestic violence. That is my input.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? I buy my plantain chip. It's sour. And some polauri for tonight's game in Guyana. May the best team win. And ladies and gentlemen, please share the show to your friends. Not often we hear this kind of discussion. Thank you very much. You're watching the Ken Rampersaud Show on Island Zone Radio. I am back. And I don't think I'll be on next week because there's a pageant, I think, going on next week. And I really wanted to go. I give my word I'll go. So nevertheless, tune in tomorrow night for From Our Hearts with Radic and Ken. And again, thank you very much, Ms. Bibi. And Terence, thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.